Storyblok, a sneak peek into the future of headless e-commerce. My good friend Samuel Snopko from Storyblok is going to take you through the journey of how to connect all the pieces of this composed architecture that is the future of e-commerce. Be ready to be blown away by how well Storyblok integrates with everything. Have fun.
Hi everybody. Hi everybody who is interested into the headless e-commerce. I'm here today to speak about the Storyblok, the headless CMS, and the connection to the Vue Storefront and the commercetools in this case. So, and we will be also talking about the future of the e-commerce. So, in my opinion, is this the upcoming future which we all will be living in very, very soon, and we could also say that we are already living in. So it will be not only a sneak peek, but it's already like the current state. So who am I first? I am the Samuel Snopko. I'm head of the developer relations at Storyblok, and I'm basically taking care of the documentation, doing all the kind of experiments, and one of my fulfillment of my jobs is also like doing the talks and experiments with Vue Storefront, which I really love. So as I am also a huge fan of the Vue.js and Nuxt.js, but that's enough of me. Let's jump to the talk. So what we are going to talk today? We are talking about the headless e-commerce, but first we should set up some basement, some basics and the framework for us. So it's the topic is not only about the Vue Storefront and the e-commerce and the headless e-commerce, but it's also like the monolithic versus the decoupled, because the world is changing, and this change in favor of the decoupled services, which means that we don't have anymore just those monolithic big systems that can fulfill all of our needs, because our needs are different, and in every company they want to build differently the stuff. So it wasn't a very flexible to have a monolithic stuff. And this monolithic versus decoupled is not only about the front end and the back end as usually is put out. It's about like decoupling the whole bunch of services, whole bundles. Like the Vue Storefront is taking care of the e-commerce part, but also then we have tools like commercetools, which offer us then the APIs and then make it everything possible to decoupled. And this whole story, also a big part are the headless CMSs as a Storyblok, which then take care of the content. And if we put everything together, we get the decoupled world, where we can choose and pick the services, the technologies, and also the frameworks we would like to use, and maybe also how we will going to use. This brings us to one very important stuff, and that is that it brings us and give us option to focus on our users, because if the Storyblok as the headless CMS is taking care of the application and how the content is changed and managed, then you can focus on your final product. You can focus on your eShop and how you build the eShop. That is the best user experience. That there is not enough. There is always the best way for your users to buy stuff or maybe find out about. And this is, if you think about everything together. And at first it looked like you are paying like a lot of services, but that's not true, because you are saving a lot of time of your developers and you can use the time for building a better final product. So that's, in my opinion, the monolithic versus the decoupled. In this case, I would like also say like it has something to do with the evolution, and we are already like experiencing a next step in the evolution, because we started in the early days of the internet with basically files. We were building HTML files, then became JavaScript, CSS, and all that kind of stuff. But still, we were building files, and then we were uploading those files somewhere. Then we get a versioning systems. So basically, Git-based headless Git-based CMSs, or like ways to versioning, but always it was only mostly for the developers. Like you had to be good in technology. Then it also came the other users, like content editors and writers, and they were like not the developers. So we came with the big systems or big monolithic systems and put them on their own servers, and they basically fulfill all of our needs, almost. Because then we find out that we are losing flexibility, even we are getting all those non-developer features like content authoring, internet installation, but we couldn't choose anymore like which language are we going to use to program this website or this application, and we couldn't reuse that stuff. And so if something wasn't possible to do there, then it was basically already a blocker, and we couldn't go that way. And that it's why also it came the headless CMSs. So headless CMSs are not 100%, and every time I am saying that, not the Git-based CMSs. Headless CMSs are CMSs that are taking inspiration from the monolithic systems, from all the functions for the non-developers, but taking care of all the developer stuff, that thinking about the developer and developer first. So not telling the developer how they should code, but letting them to choose the best way for them. Because we don't know how you want to build your website, your application, your Internet of Things. So, and it's why the headless CMSs are the next step. And the Vue Storefront is exactly what we all need, for example. It's something in the Vue world which glue everything together, because we have a headless CMS on one part. We have then some kind of e-commerce system like commercetools. We have technologies like Vue or Nuxt we can choose, but it's everything like too often to build from scratch. But if we take something like the e-commerce into the whole topic, it is the glue that will basically build our headless e-commerce together and hold everything together and offer us the functions that we were in need all of the time. So, and then we can use all the perks of this setup. So kind of, we should call it still a Jamstack. So it's kind of, we can use the reusability, the delegation of the task, that we don't care like one part, like the e-commerce taking care of the e-commerce part, the content systems are taking care of the content systems. So Storyblok will be where you will manage your non-e-commerce content. Then the security on each part are taken care by the security experts on site, and you don't need to hire your own security experts. And I could go on, like the better performance. You even don't know that there is like update of the database, because you don't have to do anything. You just have your website which consume all those APIs, and suddenly it's faster. And that's something great. And still focus on what matters. And in my opinion, what matters is your user, and to fulfill needs of your user and make the best experience or the best website application for them. So, and that's why I think the headless e-commerce is the next step, and it's something that we should really explore and get invested in. And today I'm going to talk, as you maybe noticed, about the Nuxt.js, Vue Storefront, Storyblok, and the commercetools, and how you can build a website with these technologies. Very easy and very quickly. I will show you a demo. So what we'll be doing today, we are going to do a little bit coding time, and we'll be like creating like Storyblok space, then preview the commercetools, so what I build in commercetools, so very easily just added the 4 products there. Then I create the Vue Storefront project, or how you will create the first Vue Storefront project, and then how you will connect it with Storyblok with Vue Storefront, of course, and then how you will adjust the Vue Storefront component. So let's get started. So first of all, what is the Storyblok? So Storyblok is the headless system where you can manage your content, from the scheduling the content in the future to managing in the different stages. You can have a different rights for different roles, and you can integrate it with various e-commerce systems already today. And how to create it, it's basically super easy and super fast. You just log in, and then you will just go for a create new space. So you can just click create new space. You can go like demo space, and a new empty space is created for you, and you can start coding. So this is like all you need to do. Now you can go to components, where you will be creating all your components needed, or you can go to content, and from already created and set up schemas of your components, you can create a content. But still, in this case, you wouldn't have any components that you can use to create a real data. So you will have to set up the data and the schema of it, and then even without the visualization of the data, so like the website or application, you can already create them. Then what we are building today is I have open in this tab, And it's basically very easily create a Vue Storefront website like this. So I'm not going to create everything, but I will show you code and explain it. But for this, as I mentioned, we will need commerce tools. So I just created a demo space, demo project in the commerce tools and added there like 4 products. Added there like at the moment there's like same type, it doesn't matter. There's like 2 categories, and we can then get these 4 products through the API. In our case, I have here in developer settings basically to access to the Storyblok, so to get the products and the categories, and also to get access to the Vue Storefront. That Vue Storefront can load also those data. So let's see our product listing, and this is our website. So what we need to do now is basically everything create and put together. So what you would do, you would go usually to the project where my project is already running. You go to the command line tool and you go and use the Vue Storefront to create a new project from the scratch. Then you can definitely go and install the Storefront UI, which you can use, and I'm using in this project. Then you need to have also the commerce tool integration. The Vue Storefront Nuxt will be installed, and also the Nuxt team. There is a great documentation from the Vue Storefront team that you can go to their doc site, and I have also a link in this presentation. So what next I did here is also that I installed the Storyblok Nuxt module, which will take care of the connection between the Storyblok and the Nuxt. There is 2 ways to connect it. I'm using the Storyblok Nuxt, but the Vue Storefront team also created their own integration that you can also take care of, that you can use that. There is also a question, sometimes you would maybe go better with the Storyblok one, but that doesn't matter at the moment. So you can see my project is running. And what you will get if you start a demo project like this, you will get basically a project with already created components, and I created the CMS folder here, and then in here usually you will have a home.vue. In this home.vue, which is running on my localhost at the moment, I have a demo page from the Vue Storefront. So this is the page I already showed you in the Storyblok. And as you can see, this is exactly the same page I showed you in the Storyblok. And you can get this visual preview in the Storyblok very easily. In your project, you go to settings, and here in the location or the default environment, you can just add your localhost, or any Vercel, Netlify, or any deployment link where you have. And you can add them also multiple. So if I take this localhost, I can create like something like a production environment, add here a link, save it, and then call to content. I would go to home, and then you can jump between the different environments. But as you can see at the moment, I don't have here any connection. So I have my website. I can switch from up and down, but it's just a website shown in the iframe. On the right hand side, I have my default content, which was created as I created a space from scratch. So this is just a teaser and a grid, and I cannot edit the content here. I cannot change the header. I cannot change this. Banner. I cannot change also the list of the products. So how you can do that? For that, I created a demo, a connected homepage. So basically it's the same page which you have here, which is this one with a lot of, I would say, a dummy data that is coming directly from the my Vue file. So it's not coming from any API at the moment. And to get these data, to have it somehow manageable by the Storyblok and also partially in the commerce tools, I need to connect them. So I created here a connected homepage where you can see I created a new list of the possible components. You can find and define this component in the component section of the Storyblok. So if I go up and go to components, then you can see here that here I have the Storefront components, which are basically matching more or less the Storefront UI I used. So in the Storefront UI website here, you can just go to the Storybook on the bottom, play with Storybook, and then you can find out all of the components they already created and how to use them, and what props they expected, or what functions are they offered, what are the labels, etc. And then you can get something. You will find out what you need sent to those components, and then you can use them in the code. So how to do that? So if I will go here and take something very easy as is the storefront heading, and this is only having one prop. It's called heading. So, and this heading is a text. So I'm just sending a text. If I would open a grid, there is something special because the hero has a multiple hero images or heroes inside. So hero items, exactly. And here I am adding a special prop type, which is called heroes. And inside I can add any block. And in this case, I whitelisted only the storefront hero item. And the hero item consists at the moment, if I will show you, consists from also a different list of the properties or fields. And in this case, I added the title, subtitle, button, text, background color, image, and image left. And all this I found it in the Vue Storefront UI library or storebook of the Vue Storefront UI. So now I have created this sample list of my storefront, Vue Storefront components, and these are the schemas of it. And then I created a connected page. So how the connected page works is that I can now create and define those. As you can see, for example, I can click here and my correct hero item is open in that case. So you can see here that I can fill in the subtitle, I can fill in the title, I can change the background color, I can change a picture. And this is a hero image, but let's go to this banner, which then looks a little bit better for the presentation for presentation and showing how it works. So here, it's one of the things you can send to the Vue Storefront is the version of it, which they are offering two versions, version 1 and version 2. So basically, if I change to version 1, I instantly see a change. And this change is working thanks to the Storyblok Nuxt module that is already sending directly the data to the Vue Storefront. So here I can now also change which banner will be showing. So I can send this banner to the A, and then the banner which was originally in the B, I can send, for example, from on E, I can send to B. And in this case, this is how the Vue Storefront decided how their frontend will be managed. You can do your own way. So, okay, so we have kind of a live preview here. I can reorder stuff and I can save the stuff and I can of course publish it. I would get a webhook and this is great, but still not an e-commerce. And still I didn't tell you how this works. So how this works, first answer that question, is that I have here a connected home website or a Vue file where I'm of course loading my data from the Vue Storefront, from the Storyblok. So here in the asynchronous method, I'm just asking a Storyblok API for a connected home story, and the connected home story, you can find it here. So like this is connected home and this is the name of it. I can ask on it and I will get my published JSON, which looks like this with all the information needed for Vue Storefront, what to render. So I get my information from the Storyblok to my Nuxt application with Vue Storefront. Great. So this is just getting data. I get those data here into my Vue file, basically, and then I will be sending that down to the waterfall or through the props to the component. So at first, I'm like rendering the storefront page. So this is a special component which I created here, and in those storefront component, I have here two special things to see. The first one is the editable, where I am sending the block. So this is the prop. I get it from this is the prop I'm getting from my connected home, so from my page. And this contains basically the whole page, everything I need to render the page. But in the draft version, we are also sending a special identifiers that make able that we can see this enhancement preview of our website, because this is literally my local host, but I enhance it with inside this iframe with a little CSS and connection. And now I can have something like, I see that this is the hero item. I can click on different banners, for example, and I can also change those banners. And it's the stuff is correctly opening on the right hand side, and it's also scrolling. So I see here which I'm hovering on. If I hover now on the top, hero, then I see also the green rectangle around it. And that's very, very, very important and better for our users. So this is how the Vue editable very short works. Then what I'm doing next is I have here a dynamic component from the Vue, and there I'm just looping through my body, because here I created on my storefront page, I created a property called body where you can add any of the storefront, Vue storefront components. And that's basically in my publish JSON, is that I have a body which is an array of the components, and every component here is saying what should be rendered. So here should be rendered a storefront hero item, and the storefront hero item of course would render storefront hero item would of course render the storefront hero item here, but I'm rendering the storefront hero in this case. So if you see here up, I will close the heroes because I don't want to. There is a component called storefront hero, and I am going to render the storefront hero in as on the first place. So I'm rendering everything in the order as I am getting in JSON, and it's everything dynamic, so I can also reorder. And these are two tricks that you need to basically achieve this. Of course, you have to tell to the Nuxt.js or to the Vue Storefront which components are you using and when. So in this case, let's do a little experiment. So if I close this, you can go see that I created a demo, but here I have a newsletter. And the newsletter is not possible to change. It's aesthetic. So I have a newsletter and subscribe to our newsletter. So if I would go to the call to action, and if you look here, this is the call to action. So it's not really a newsletter. It's a component. It's called storefront call to action. And if I go here, you can see that I basically have hard-coded the title and hard-coded the description. So if I would want to have them dynamic, I just can define here a title and a description, and change the description to the text area, save it, cancel, and now there are some values. So add the newsletter and subscribe to newsletter. And also what I will need to do first is change this title to this, and this will be a blog.title because I have everything in that blog already, and this will be a blog.description. Save it, and now I can save and publish, or just a save. To be sure, let's reload. We did some change, and let's change the newsletter name, and I can start changing my text to anything I want, and I can preview it in the live without hitting the save, because every time I hit the save I have to kind of redeploy, and then I pollute my versioning, and you see I have a lot of versions here at the moment, and everything gets messy. So this is how you would very quickly edit your content, your non-commercial other content. But I show you already the e-commerce, my products in the commerce tools, and I still should show you how you should connect that part to the Storyblok and to the Vue Storefront. So how to do that is here I have this sample, which is not possible to edit. It's just a hard-coded and loaded from the Vue Storefront, as is done in their demo. That's great, because you can integrate it to any e-commerce you want, but I already choose the commerce tools. So here in the commerce tools, I create a special field type, which you can also create your own field types in Storyblok. You can enhance Storyblok any way you want, basically. And here I connected it to my demo or trial commerce tools store. So in this case, if you see here, I just created an API. I connected to my endpoint. I added my client ID, I added my client secret. I did some limits, and we just customly set options for this field type or a plugin. And then what I can do is to select products or select categories. In this case, I want to select the component product and render them. So if I select these products, let's say I will select the cotton sweater and the cream beige, and then save it. Oh, sorry, I selected wrong. So I can save it. I could also publish it, and I should reload because I am now asking the commerce tool API to get me data. So that I need to save in the Storyblok. So I added the new data. I see my new preview after the save. This is something we are still working on to update it, that it works also without the save. And now in my JSON, if I look for a slider, so if I look for slider, I get basically items, and these items I am sending there in the Storyblok. I saved only the picture, I saved the ID of the product that I want to show in that, also the defaults, also the SKU, the name, etc. But this is something that could be already a little bit old in the case if I'm going to production and hit the publish, and my webhook will start a production deployment. So for that case, we have still the Vue Storefront. So in the preview, I can preview my products very easily. I can set up it any way I want. I could set up it on those categories like, hey, I want to see here the first 5 products from the bags or sweaters. And you can set up it, it's up to you. So it's your imagination, how you want to do it. Do you want to create a special component which will show the top 5 rated components, and then in the Vue Storefront you know what API or what you should do with your data. So what happens here now is that I need to load those data also from the Vue Storefront. And in the Vue Storefront, how we did that, or with Vue Storefront, how we do it, is that there is a very simple thing that we have a product slider. And in this product slider, basically, you are just asking for those, in the setup function, I asking for those products, which I am getting an ID of. So here, basically, I get an ID, I ask them, search them, and we'll use the Vue Storefront product function to get those data. And in the moment as I am getting deployment to the production, I get the latest possible data of those products. So if the price is a little bit wrong in the preview of the Storyblok, doesn't matter. It's important that it's really up to date in the production. So, and then you get all the products and you can deploy. And you have all the data you need to also use the other function of the Vue Storefront as add it to cart or do whatever you want to need to do. So this is how you basically work with it. And inside the Storyblok, then you can do that if you decide that there should be a different section, or you will need to this product slider on the top. You can just very quickly move it on the top. Or if you want to duplicate it, and you want to add 2 sliders, and there should be on bottom also a slider. So I now have a slider here, and then I would have a different slider where I could add, for example, a headline or something. And then I want to change here something. I can just go select a different products here, or all 4 of them, save, publish, and then basically after reload, we should see a 4th product here on the bottom, as you can see. And on the top, we see still a 2. So very easily and quickly, I basically change the layout of my website. And then I can preview if it works on the mobile, does it work on the iPad or not, save it, publish, done. Process is done on the Storyblok site, on the eCommerce site, and also in the Vue Storefront. Great. So what next? As I did this very quick demo to you, it's like how you should start. So you can start in the Storyblok Nuxt hub, where you can learn everything how to connect the Storyblok to the Nuxt, which is one of the parts of the Vue Storefront also. And also there is a whole documentation of the docs.vuestorefront.io/Storyblok, where you can learn how to build a website with Storyblok or e-commerce solution with Storyblok and the Vue Storefront. And then of course we have, if you prefer a different tool as a commerce tools, you also go for a Storyblok and look into the Storyblok documentation for what integration we already offer at the moment. And the list is also like getting longer and longer, of course. And the last, we have also like huge community of the people and the Vue Storefront people, the Vue people who are hanging out on the Discord, where you can ask questions how to put everything together. So go there if you have any question, and you will find me also there. Or you can find me always on the Twitter, Samuel Snopko, and just write me a direct message anytime. And I need to thank for the presentation, because I am here as a face who present you the Storyblok, the Vue Storefront, Vue.js, Nuxt.js, which is super cool. But behind all of these technologies, there are like huge teams, a lot of people working on daily basis on that, and I'm basically getting all that, all the fame in this case. What I'm talking about. So I want to thank to the team of the Storyblok and to my team who are doing great work. So thank you very much. And also I want to thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those questions in the following Q&A or on the Discord, where you can find me anytime, or go to this Storyblok Twitter account, follow us and define the news, or go to the the Twitter Samuel Snopko and follow me and ask me any questions on the direct messages. One more time, thank you very much, and I hope you liked it. See you soon on somewhere. Ciao.